guys. Welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. A woman's getting burnt online. She goes viral for basically ridiculous dating standards. You know, we talk many times about why guys are tapping out. And, you know, it's one thing if you say, well, I'm not 6 foot, or I'm not athletic, or I'm not tall, I'm dark and handsome, and I'm not rich. But, you know, those guys have all the luck in the world. What if I told you maybe they weren't? What if I told you maybe something as simple as cheese on a cheeseburger is enough to now disqualify you as a man in the dating market? This woman's going viral because of her ridiculous, just stupid standards. Now, look, I'm not saying that she's, you know, awful looking, but she's certainly not what many would consider to be, you know, a 9 or a 10. We could certainly call her mid or average at best. But apparently, if you care how much they charge for cheese on a cheeseburger, that's disqualifying, especially when they charge you $3 for a slice of, I don't know, processed cheese or Swiss cheese. And because you ask that question of how much it is and you say, no, thanks, I don't want to pay that much just for a slice of cheese that I really could care less about, that's disqualifying now. I'll let this play for a second, and you can hear what I'm talking about.
Guys, I just got back from a Hinge date. Why am I doing this to myself? So we scheduled to go to dinner. We are sitting at the restaurant. Seems very nice. Not a catfish. Things are going well. And the waitress comes over. She wants to take our order. And I said, okay, I'm going to take the branzino. And he said, I'm going to take the burger. And the waitress asked him, okay, how do you like your burger? He said how he likes his burger. And do you want some cheese on your burger? And he asked, is this going to be extra? And she says, yes, it's $3 extra. And he said, okay, then never mind. Over there, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? I'm like, okay, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat my branzino and see what happens. And he's like, oh my God, you have to pay extra for everything these days. And I'm like, yeah, it's New York City. So I got my branzino, he got his burger, we were eating. And once I was satisfied, I got up and I was like, I'm going to the restroom for a second. And I took my purse and I went to the waitress and I was like, hey, I just want to pay the bill. And I just paid the bill and walked out of the restaurant, and I texted him. So I texted him, the check is taken care of, you should have gotten the cheese. And I blocked him.
He gets the burger and asks how much is the cheese, and he says $3, or she says, the waitress says $3, and he says, never mind then. That's it. That's all he did, is say, you know what? I don't feel $3 is worth a slice of cheese. And I can't argue with him. And you know what? Here's the thing. It doesn't even necessarily mean that he's a cheap guy. I do this all the time. I make financial decisions. Is this worth X amount of money? That's all I do. I go to the store. I maybe decide on a treat or something for myself. And this has literally happened to me in the last week. I'll pick it up. I'll look at the size of the container, which is getting smaller. I look at the price, which is getting more expensive. And I said, you know something? I don't want this that badly. And I put it back. Is it because I'm cheap? No. It just means that versus the pleasure I'll get out of something or the amount of it or whatever, that $3 can go towards something else I care about. You know, it's really weird. We used to call it, well, what's the word I like to use? Fiscal responsibility. You vote with your dollars. And voting $3 for a little slice of maybe processed cheese, because this is America, he might have just said no. But based on that, and based on him saying, man, everything costs something extra today, she decides to end the date. Now, when I was younger, I do remember, younger being 15 minutes ago, I remember things were a lot less expensive. But I do remember that you used to be able to go out and get things without everything being an addition. You used to be able to jump on a plane and take a flight, and the price you were given was the price you get. Now, if you want to switch seats, it's $20. If you want to, depending on the airline. If you want a window seat or an aisle seat or whatever, they're going to find an extra charge for you. You want headsets, $2 or $5. You want to watch a movie, $3. Again, not all airlines do this. They all have their different things. You want to check a bag, $50. An extra bag, $30. It's overweight, $10. And after a while, that starts adding up. It starts getting to the point where you say, I'm tired of getting nickeled and dimed. And so when a guy goes out there and he just says, you know what, I'm going to watch the money on this one. I'd rather save the $3. You notice he didn't complain about what she was buying. He didn't complain about anything extra she was getting. And he was planning, I imagine, on paying the bill without any complaint. But because he decided to save a couple of bucks, this girl said, nah, I'm good. Now, the irony is, she was so insulted she paid for the guy. Good for him, he got a free burger out of it. And she dipped out the back. Did she have a conversation with him? Did she discuss it? Did she even let it go and later and just say, hey, why did you skip the cheese? I mean, $3 is $3. Maybe you would have said, hey, you know what? That extra $3, I don't know. I figured I'd put it towards an ice cream or something for you later. Who knows? Who knows? Doesn't matter. I think if I had gotten a text where she said, you should have gotten the cheese, I would have been like, really? Was that the deal breaker? But a lot of times we don't get those texts. We don't get those messages. So you say, man, I don't know, we were having a great conversation on Tinder and she just never responded, or we never ended up meeting out. Or we met out for coffee and I bought the coffee, I paid for it, we had a great conversation, she said she really enjoyed it and she ghosted me. Or you go on that date and it happens. Or on date 3 it happens. Or at any point, it could just be over. And you may not know why. But if a girl will bounce because of cheese, how many women would say, oh, you got, I don't know, you put cream in your coffee. And to milk cows, you have to do this. And I'm only vegan. And if you're not vegan, then you should, die in a fire. or you added, I don't know, sugar, or you used, when you cooked the other day, you used plant derivative olive instead of avocado olive or oil. Let me try that again. You used vegetable oil instead of olive oil or avocado oil, and vegetable oil is bad for the planet because they cut down a lot of trees and deforestation, and you don't know. And with the entitlement and everything else that's going on, you never will know. I have another little snippet here. I didn't pull this in, but I do want to toss this in and talk about it here for a second. I'm going to throw these couple of videos in here and talk about these just for a second. These are girls being interviewed on a podcast called Whatever. Imagine being nice, and she says, well, nice guys, who wants a nice guy? I'm just going to let it play.
It's not because I like the bad boys or whatever. I like nice guys. But, like, there's no attractive nice guys.
There's no attractive nice guys. Now, there are, but they're invisible to her. It's not even on her radar. You see what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't even see them. And again, we're not talking about supermodels here. We're talking about average women that are clubbers or that you might meet out at the library or the store or college. Just average women that are like, they're no nice guys. I'm only attracted to the bad boys. What denotes a nice guy versus a bad boy? Who knows? That changes per woman. There's no outguessing it, though. That's my point. You might offer to buy her a dinner, and you're a nice guy now. Instead of, I don't know what, demanding that she pays for it. You might text her too often, so you're a nice guy. You might reply to her texts within an hour or two instead of 4 days, so you're nice. Who knows? And so if this kind of thing is happening to you and you're having no luck in the dating world, who says it has anything to do with you? It's the ridiculous standards of some of these women. Again, I'll say it like I've said it before. Certainly not all women, but enough of them that you just say, it feels like I'm steering through a minefield. Like I can't do anything right because I drift left, bang, mine. Drift right, bang, mine. It's trying to make this narrow path all the way through it to make things happen. So what happens to a lot of guys? They either give up or they just say, F it, I don't care. And they go out there and do their thing and maybe act rude, maybe act like a jerk. And because they don't care anymore. Or they see stuff like this and they're like, girls seem to respond to me acting kind of douchey and self-centered, where if I'm nice, they don't care. I'll finish it with this here.
If I went on a date with a guy who's single and he's not fucking any other girls, then I would be like, well, why isn't he? Like, what's wrong with him? Obviously, there's been some flags going off for other girls to make them avoid the situation.
So if you're a guy and she finds out that you're just a single guy wanting to date her and only her, that's a red flag. And now, I've said this many times on this channel, and you guys have heard me say it. Women would rather share a winner than be with an average guy all to their own. Again, we're not talking about everybody, but this is a lot of mentality of young women today. They want a player. They want a guy that's successful with 20 women. They want a guy that's desired by 100 women. But they want to win him, and they want to have him as the boyfriend. The problem is that they're one amongst a dozen other women, and the odds of them winning him are 0. But he's such a high-value man because all the other women want him, she wants him too. And even if he's a high-value guy, but he's decided, I'm just not going to casually hook up, or I'm not going to date other women, or I'm going to do my own thing, he's a loser to her. He's not desirable enough. Has nothing to do with how he actually treats her. It only has to do with how popular he is, how desired he is, how hot he is, and how many other women want him.
So, I mean, like, I personally would be like more inclined to want to go on a date, at least a first date,
with a guy who's
the guy who's like normal, yeah,
before.
who's like hooking up with girls and I'm hooking up with guys. Like, I mean, I feel like that's dating in 2022. Like,
that's dating in 2022 or 2023. Everybody hooking up with everybody. And it's fine for those that want it. But what if you don't? What if you say, I just like, it's expensive dating. I just want to date one woman. Or I like a solid relationship. I'm not just into hooking up in the casual stuff. I'd like something that's meaningful. That's not what she wants. And like a lot of the profiles that I read, dating profiles and other things I talk about, a lot of women don't want that. Because they don't need a single guy. They have their own money now. They're working. They're graduating college at a 60% rate versus 40% of men. The wage gap thing is busted beyond busted. I've done video after video of that, of the Harvard studies. And for those of you that don't know, literally all they did is take all the men by X amount of jobs and all the women by X amount of jobs, and they divided it up, and they found the averages. It didn't take into account overtime, the jobs done, the professions, the danger, the risk, part-time versus full-time. It didn't take into any of that stuff, because when they've done that math, it's between 3 and 5%. And usually that percentage comes down to men being more aggressive in asking for raises, or men working on weekends and taking night shifts and taking maybe more dangerous shifts or less desirable shifts to get a little extra money. That's what it all boiled down to. And I did the video where out of 147 cities, or excuse me, out of 150 cities, out of 147, I think it was, or 145, something like that, the average income for the same positions, women were getting paid more. So that's been busted, right? That's out the window. But so women are making more. They're graduating college at a higher rate. They feel empowered. They don't want to be a slave to a man and have to stay home and do housework and be a stay-at-home mom. So they say, I'm going to work and grab my own bag. So what do they need men for? Sleeping with, having fun with, and then they move on to the next and the next and the next and the next. This is why I keep saying long-term traditional relationships are dead. Women don't want them anymore. I think if anything, a lot of men actually want it. But it's not to be had. So, I guess when women say it's, let me summarize with this. Women say players are bad, but they want them, and they'll chase them, and they'll date them, and they'll sleep with them. But when they get angry about the whole situation is when they catch feelings for the guy, but he decides to keep playing. Then it's fine. Then they're angry. Then they're pissed off that he didn't select her, that he took a different woman, or he wants to keep playing. But what happens if he catches feelings for her? He's a loser. He's weak. He's undesirable by not enough women. He doesn't have enough going on in his life. It's a no-win game for a lot of guys. And the more guys that see this, the more they tap out. So keep that in mind as we, as you muddle on and you keep trying to stick it out in the dating world. This is what you're working with. I'm not saying not to do it. Just understand the game. Don't hate the players. Just understand the game. And this is the game that's going on right now. Guys, if you're here on YouTube or Rumble, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com where I do the dating profiles of the day.